Our next guest, Bear Hebert, has made a lasting impact on the Rose and for all the women that we serve. He has been our auctioneer for the Rose's annual shrimp boil fundraiser for 36 years. In this episode, Bear talks about why fundraising is essential to providing care for uninsured women, what motivates people to give year after year, and how breast cancer changed his own outlook on life. If Bear's story moves you, don't keep it to yourself. When you share this episode, you help us grow. Someone you know may need to hear it here at The Rose. And remember, it's not too late to buy your tickets. Just go to therose.org and look for the shrimp boil. Let's talk about your breast. A different kind of podcast presented to you by The Rose, a breast center of excellence and a Texas treasure. You're going to hear frank discussions about tough topics, and you're going to learn why knowing about your breast could save your life. Bear Hebert, here you are again, talking to us about you, about our 36th annual shrimp boil event, which is a great fundraiser for the Rose. It's going to be June 21st from 4 to 8. It's at the Pasadena Convention Center. And what is your role there?
My role there is I am the auctioneer. I'm the auctioneer. And when you say, Miss Dorothy, the 36th annual, I think about how much the Rose has grown as an organization, and how much I have grown personally in the 36 years that I've been blessed to work with you guys.
Absolutely.
And just to see when people of a common goal come together, just to see the magnitude of the things that can be achieved when.
Absolutely. This is our favorite. And for many, many of those 36 years was our highest fundraiser that we had. I think back to you were at our first auction.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, you must have been 16.
That shirt really brings out your eyes. Let's do that.
Oh,
let's
yes.
compliment
Let's
each other.
do it. But you were a little green.
I was green, so I'm 62, so minus 36 is, hang on, I went to Deer Park, so I was 34. Yeah, no, I was 30, so it would be 36. I would have been.
You were in your 30s.
No, 26. I would have been 26 years old.
I was going to say.
I was 20. Well, I said, I clarified that by saying I went to Deer Park first, so. But I was 26 years old when that happened, and doing the first one. This was, the Rose has always been near and dear to me, as you well know. Not largely because of what you guys do and what you guys stand for in the community, which my hat is always off to the angels at the Rose. But for me personally, you guys were the very first big fundraising auction that I ever did. Y'all were my absolute very first.
And, I didn't know that until you talked with us first time on this podcast. And I went, oh, my gosh, you were so professional.
Thank you.
Even back then.
Thank you.
Now some of you have not stayed quite as professional, but
that's
back
why,
then you were.
Now, that's why I was asking a while ago, what's the rating on this podcast?
We need you to keep it down. Come on, man.
Yes, ma'am.
But you didn't always want to be an auctioneer.
Actually, auctioneering up until 2012, 2014. 2014 is when I actually got my license. I've had, it's kind of been a parallel for me. Mm-hmm. It was always something in the beginning. It was something that I thought, okay, it's just kind of cool. And people invite me to go to these big dinners where I get to put on a suit and things like that. And they're $500 a plate. And I get to go and just hang out. And then I get to be on stage and have fun with people and help make money for other people. And how cool is that? But I've always been in sales, and I was in sales for a long time. I was in the bearing and power transmission industry and sold a lot of industrial type things. And then it kind of converted over into selling safety supplies. And that ended up opening a door for me to become a corporate safety manager. So all of the OSHA stuff and, things like that. And I really enjoyed it because, again, it was helping people. I was the guy that ended up putting together programs to help people work safely and go home to their families at night. So while auctioneering and sales and safety and all of those things they don't appear to be connected. For me, they are all connected in that I've always, I guess some people might say that I was born with a servant's heart. So I've always enjoyed helping other people achieve a level of life and a level of quality of life that they just need a little extra boost to try to help get there. So in sales, okay, what problem are you having? Talk to me about your problem and let's find the correct product or solution for your issue. In safety, same issue. You're trying to accomplish this task. Let me help you make sure that you're not going to hurt yourself. And then kind of a little get in the weeds side story. It became really evident to me when this has been way, way, way long time ago, but I'll never forget this. There was a gentleman on one of our jobs that got injured and he had to go to the hospital. Well, I went to the hospital as well. And then here comes his wife and his daughter, just a beautiful woman and a beautiful child. And while I'm standing there talking to the mother's probably early mid-20s. The child is about 6 or 7. The little girl looks up at her mama and she says, "Mom, is this the man that can tell me why my daddy got hurt?" And it was one of those moments that's frozen in time. I will never forget the look. She tugged on her mama's shirt and she said, "Mommy, is this the man that can tell me why my daddy got hurt?" And I went, this is why safety matters. But again, it's about helping people. It's about helping people and getting them safely to where they can go home, because I don't like having that conversation with with someone's child. So to follow that same exact mindset when it comes to helping the Rose, if and you know that this has touched me personally, both through my wife and y'all have also helped my mother. I want everybody to be able to have access to what they need in their darkest times of need. And that is one of the reasons why I'm just so blessed to continue to work with the Rose.
You know, Bear, that is a very strong statement. Have access to what they need in their darkest times. It really does describe where many of our women are when they come to the Rose. And if it wasn't for fundraising, we couldn't do this. I mean, it's that simple. We had no way that we could do this.
And that's something that I was thinking about prior to this. A lot of the way that things are going in our society now, there's insurance and things like that they're slowly, the gap is slowly spreading in things like that. And it doesn't matter if you're the current president of this country or if you are the person that makes the absolute least amount of money for the trade that you have. Your life is no less or greater than any other life. So every life matters, regardless of your financial status, regardless of your social status, regardless of where you're at or how many people love you or how many people don't know you. It doesn't matter. The value of human life is the utmost value in this earth. And being able to preserve that and to allow that and to nurture that and help bring that to a quality, to a higher standard of comfort and believability and self-confidence is just incredible. And in my opinion, that's a lot of what the Rose does. But you guys as the catalyst for the blessings that come forward, your hands are tied unless you get those blessings that come forward. And that's why the shrimp boil is so incredibly and vitally important.
It absolutely is.
And that is one thing that I typically do a little silent prayer before every fundraising auction. And it goes something like, Dear God, I just ask that you help lead me and guide my words, guide my measures, and the blessings that come forward today, let them ascribe to your word in Luke 6:28. Therein as you give, shall it be given unto you, pressed together, shaken down, and overflowing, there shall it be laid in your lap. And if you'll look on my business card, Luke 6:38 is in the bottom left-hand corner.
It sure is.
So
That's beautiful.
having that mentality for when you think, for some people, they think, oh man, it's time for us to go eat some shrimp, and let's go eat some shrimp, and let's go say hi to Dr. Dixie and Shannon Mack and Shannon Leacock. Let's go say hi to all of our great people over there. But it's so much deeper than that. Mm-hmm. It truly is so much deeper than that. And it doesn't matter if somebody comes by and puts $10 in a tip jar.
Oh, I remember one year, Bear, with that. We were happy when we got another $20. I mean, it meant all the difference in the world, and it's really not any different today. We have a waiting list of women that we are really. I hate to use words like desperately or any of that, but we're really struggling to find those funds to be able to take care of them. That's when you're talking about that gap. It has never been as big as it is right now. I have
a term that I use in my everyday life, and it's called an OPHI. An OPHI.
What is that?
An OPHI, that's OFI, and that's an acronym for Opportunity for Improvement. I have them personally. I see them in society, mostly personally. I'm always looking at how can I improve every day. I always look for how can I do something better, whether it's like I've got a little project at my house where I'm building a small bulkhead because I've added another driveway on the property. And so I'm building a little bulkhead. And I look at it and, wow, that's pretty cool. How can I do it better? How can I improve? So if you look for these OPHIs in the world, like we stated earlier, folks are the ladies that are in their dark, and not just ladies, because breast
Men
cancer
get it too,
affects
right,
men as
right.
well. Looking at the opportunities for improvement. So for those that are watching, or those that are considering coming to support the Rose in any manner, from prayer on up to whatever the sky's the limit, there are OPHIs here. There are opportunities for improvement. As you stated, you have a waiting list. So if 5 people can donate $20, that's $100.
That's taking one lady off that list.
That is a small opportunity for improvement.
It sure is.
So it doesn't matter. But here's the thing: is that whatever support comes from the general public or from the supporters of the shrimp boil and all the various aspects of the Rose, those are blessings.
Absolutely.
Those are blessings. And whatever you give, when you bless something, it expands exponentially. Mm-hmm. Which is why I stopped saying grace about the food and saying it over the food, because the food was expanding. So I was kind of like, well, let me put an OPHI on that one. I'm gonna thank God for the time. I'm going to thank God for the health. But I don't really want the food to expand anymore. So,
I don't know about that.
Well, I sincerely hope that God has a sense of humor, because
He won't let you in without it.
There's probably going to be a yellow light at the gates that go, "We need you to step to the right for further consultation, please." St. Peter's going to
No.
Yeah, we've been waiting on you, feller. But anyway, so for the folks that are watching, regardless of what level you can come and support this great organization, your blessing is a blessing, and know that when your blessing comes to the rose and it gets into the coffers of all of the angels here, God's got his hand on it, and as it goes forward, and you will never, not you, not me, not anybody that ever watches this podcast will ever outgive God.
That's true. That is very, very true. And let's go to the fun side of the shrimp boil now. And you make it fun, Bear. But people can give by bringing a dessert. They can give by bringing a silent auction item, by buying a silent auction item. And most of all, our live auctions are always what do you call it? That's the real fun and the real meat. And, folks in the crowd and you call them out. And
just because I am who I am, I think the word silent and auction should never be used in the same sentence. Oh, I'm just kidding.
I know. But most people know the silent auction is a little different.
And I understand that. Silent auctions are awesome, but I don't know. Some people may know, some people may not know. But I don't. The only thing that I ever brag about is, as passionate as I am about auctioneering in the auction industry, is that I'm actually a state champion bid calling auctioneer for the state of Texas. Texas has the Texas Auctioneers Association, and in 2018, I actually was awarded a state championship for bid calling. So
congratulations! We're with somebody of importance here. I mean, really.
Actually, no.
No, actually, yes. That is an achievement.
It is. It was an incredible achievement.
Yeah.
The Texas Auctioneers Association. In order to do this, you actually have to be licensed and bonded to be a live bid calling auctioneer. We are regulated by the state. It is a huge industry. There's so much oversight into it, and there are some incredible auctioneers out there. And for me to be able to say that, hey,
I'm one of them.
I actually have a state championship under my belt.
Wow.
That is the only thing that I do that's more incredible than that is working with the Rose.
Oh,
it means more to me.
Too kind.
It was a great little achievement to be a state champion.
Bear, do you go to school for this?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. To become an auctioneer, you actually have to take 83 classroom hours
Oh my gosh.
of school. You have to successfully pass that school. And then once you have successfully graduated from that school, that goes to the state of Texas, the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. And then they will authorize you to go take a state test and a national test that you must pass, a state and a national test to be a licensed auctioneer. And then you actually have to pay the state for a bond to be a live bid calling auctioneer as well.
Wow.
It is not. So many people just think, you just stand up there and talk fast. At $25 would have been $30 to be able to $35 would have been $40 to be would have been $5 would have been $5 would have been $45, and I'm done. Sold at $40. That is the simplest part of being an auctioneer.
Well, okay.
That is the simplest
Then
part.
what are besides having 83 hours, what are some of the harder parts?
A lot of the rules and regulations. Because, as blessed as I am to do fundraising auctions, I also work with other organizations, and then other things come into play. And as an auctioneer, I have to know how to manage those things in order to keep everybody above board and make sure that the attorneys for the state of Texas don't have OPHIs.
Right.
We don't want them to have an opportunity for improvement.
No.
One of the most incredible things is guns. Anytime that there are certain laws and certain avenues that if you want to sell guns, yes, we can do that. We in the auction industry don't sell guns unless they're guaranteed to pass the background check. That is where the auction industry has decided in Texas and pretty much nationally that we're going to take that step to make sure that our society and that our clients and our customers are protected. Whether we're doing an estate sale or a fundraiser, there are certain little caveats, and you have to know, okay, well, if we do it this way, then I've got to do it this way. So I recommend to my clients that we do it this way so that this is the most effective and most efficient way. But it's always getting those curveballs, because every little curveball is an opportunity, and you have to really be up on the regulations and how best to advise your clients on moving forward.
Oh, yeah. So it's a process more as much as anything else.
And some of the auctioneers will refer to auctions as the auction method of marketing. Oftentimes, outside of the fundraising realm, if we're going to, let's say I'm going to do a farm sale, or I'm going to sell some real estate, it's in most industries, you create a product and you present your product to the market. In the auction industry, we have a product, we assemble a market, and we present the market to the product. So let's just say I was going to sell your home at auction, okay? My job as the auctioneer is for normal real estate, which I'm also a realtor, I'm also a licensed realtor. Under the normal channel of real estate, I will take your home and make a nice little bundled package and present that to the market. Now, if we're going to sell it at auction, then I'm going to take that little bundle and I'm going to go out and I'm going to create a market. I'm going to find 10, 12, 15 people that are interested in that type of home in that location with those parameters. I'm going to bring those people together, and we're going to find out who wants it the most.
Wow.
So it is a whole complete different approach to the sale. So fundraising is the key word for fund is fun. So they are so much, they're just so much fun. Fundraising. I'm just to know that there are many different aspects of actually being an auctioneer, and having to know all of the different codes and regulations and things like that based on, I may be over here, I'm selling box lots one day, the next day I've got, a gun sale, and then the next day I've got, we're going to have a real estate sale, and then I've got a farm auction, and you've got to know that if at a farm auction, if you had a farm and I'm selling your farm and there are guns in the farm, then I'm perfectly fine selling as long as you are the only seller. But if I take one consignment from someone else that says, hey, I know you're selling this stuff for Dorothy over there. Look, I've got this tractor over here at my place. I want to consign that tractor to you. Then taking that one little item actually makes this auction a consignment auction. And if I'm going to sell guns at a consignment auction, I actually have to have an FFL. If I'm just going to sell guns as a part of an estate and it's only for the estate, then I can sell the guns without any problem, and then I'll work out, doing background checks for transfer. So just that one little caveat
can make all the difference.
So those are some of the things that are a little more difficult about the actual auction industry as a whole.
Right. So now for the Roses Shrimp Bowl and the auction that you do there, I think most of the folks that are listening know that money goes directly to our Empower Her program,
yes, ma'am,
which covers uninsured women.
Yes, ma'am.
And provides these uninsured women everything from that first mammogram to getting them into treatment.
Right.
Very, very important fundraiser of our year.
Absolutely.
And
that's what we were talking about a while ago, the OPHIs, the blessings that are coming forward. So y'all have ample opportunity to put those blessings to an absolutely magnificent use.
Absolutely. And we're always open for suggestions. But now, Bear, You mentioned that you've been touched by breast cancer in a very personal way. Now that your beautiful bride, Becky, is, 2, 3, 4 years out?
She's going into the third year
Yeah.
post.
What did breast cancer teach you?
A little bit of humility. Taught me a little bit of humility in that learning, trying to deal with the frustration. I think generally as men, we just want to go out there, and I mean, if something's a threat, we just want to go out there and just we just want to go tear it up. But sadly, there's the only way that we can tear it up is to just deal with it and help our spouses be comfortable and as comfortable as possible. Be kind, be understanding, and understand that there's going to be a lot of some women. Some ladies might deal with it where they just all of a sudden just close off and be introverted. Some ladies, it might be the exact opposite, where they might be outwardly expressive, but it's a trauma, and there's physical trauma, and then there's a little bit of an emotion. I don't want to say an emotional trauma, but there's an emotional adjustment. Mm-hmm. There's an emotional adjustment
Absolutely.
that ladies that your spouse is going to go through,
Right.
And the biggest way that I feel like people can conquer that is to, again, be open and understand that the rules you may have had for your relationship could easily change, and be resilient. Always keep your eye on the prize, which is your spouse, and move forward in whatever's best for that based on the circumstances you're at that moment. And again, the serenity prayer. Mm-hmm. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That third one, that wisdom to know the difference, hey, folks, that's a catcher right there.
It is.
That is the catcher.
It sure is. What are you doing differently that you might have done before, but these days isn't even important anymore, or is more important?
The biggest change that it's made for Becky and I both, is dietary. We actually have changed. We've changed the way that we view food and things like. And we still go out social events, social dining and things like that. But interpersonally,
a lot more aware.
It was very eye-opening.
Yeah.
For me personally, it's research, research, and double check. So many people now are watching reels and watching YouTube, and I think there's a lot of people in the medical industry that it appears to me are trying to use that to get the information out to people. And when I personally see those, if what I'm hearing sounds logical, then I will go out and see if I can find 3 or 4 or 5 sources that will reinforce, for lack of a better term, that will reinforce that information. And so I'm a critical thinker. I'm very cause and effect. Okay, well, if this is happening, why? And if that's happening, then why? And why? And why? And why? And why? Until there's eventually no question of why. Right. And that's the first domino in the whole effect. So it's caused me to take a much deeper look into cancer, and more especially breast cancers and things like that, and to educate myself. And to go and quantify and qualify, both quantify and qualify the information that I choose to accept as the truth.
That's good. That is very good advice, because there's a lot of things out there that really don't work.
For those of you that may be of, let's just say, earlier generations, if your birth year starts with a 1, as opposed, no flies on anybody that's 25 years old or younger. But if your birth year starts with a 1, you probably remember some of the old westerns like Gunsmoke and Big Valley. And man, I still love to watch a lot of those old westerns like that. They had snake oil salesmen back then, and that was a mentality. It was really kind of a do nothing potion with
a lot of sales behind
with
it.
a lot of sales behind it,
and promises that could not be met.
The people, the characters that were in the old Gunsmoke, they were based on people in real life, and those people in real life, they have descendants that live to this day. So there are some snake oil people out there, and that is why I go out and I quantify and qualify any information that I see. If there's some herb or some vitamin or something like that, then I will go out there. I will go out there and I will check it out.
All right, put on another hat for just a minute. Put on your auctioneer hat.
Yes, ma'am.
And give us an example of how you prepare.
Prayer first. God before everything.
Okay.
There's prayer, but sometimes you do a little bit of humming, then different tones like What that vibration does is wakes up your vocal cords. Your an auction chant is very much in the front of the mouth. Okay. You don't use words like a lot of auctioneers who use the word got, g. That the g sound is formed in the back of the throat. Right. So your tongue, if you think about your tongue as a muscle, that tongue you have to go all the way to the back, form that tone, and then come all the way back to the front, and that's using the muscle. We're getting down into like the finite science of an auction chant.
Right.
So there's it's very much in the front of the mouth. So we do some warm-up drills.
Okay.
We do the 10-10 drill, which would be like 10-10, 20-20, 30-30, 40-40, 50-50, 50-50, 40-40, 30-30, 20-20, 10-10, 10-10, 20-20, 30-30, 40-40, and just back and forth a couple of times. It's also very much on the lips and these particular muscles, these particular maxillofacial muscles right here around the mouth. So you'll round the rough and rugged, rock the ragged, rascal ran. Round the rough and rugged, rock the ragged, rascal ran. We'll do lots of that. Tommy Atatimus. Tommy Atatimus took 2 T's and tied them atop of 2 tall trees. Tommy Atatimus took 2 T's and tied them atop of 2 tall trees. And then there's one that we do that helps get your wind and get your rhythm and gets really into the bottom part of the lungs, and that's the Betty Botter drill, which most people just absolutely adore.
All right, let's hear it.
Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. So she bought a bit of better butter, put it in her bitter batter, made her bitter batter better. So this better Betty Botter bought a bit of better butter. And I will do that one about 10 times.
Oh, my gosh.
I will do that one about 10 times. As much as I love shrimp and all of that, I don't eat 2 or 3 hours before an auction for a couple of reasons. Number one, years and years and years and years ago, I was doing an auction, and I ate right before that, and right in the middle of my chant, I belched.
Oh, my gosh.
One of those, it was, everybody just thought it was so funny, but it went like, I'm at 25, would be 30, $35.
Oh, my gosh.
And everybody just thought it was funny, and I just laughed it off, and I thought it was funny, but I went, whoo-hoo, no. We're not going to do that anymore. I typically don't eat anywhere from 3 to 4 hours before an auction for that reason, but also because it takes so much wind.
Right.
I need
digest
I need the maximum lung capacity that I can get. So,
all right, one more thing.
One more thing.
Now you do know that we have a theme this year.
We have a theme this year.
Yes. Remember last year we did the 80s?
Yes, ma'am.
This year it's all about bling.
All about the bling.
Yes. It's kind of an urban cowboy.
Right.
We're going to have a Dolly Parton look-alike contest. You might be the judge of that.
But
We're going to have a John Travolta, and we're encouraging everyone to put on as much bling as you can.
that is
And
going to
and
be.
we're going to see who can bling it up the best.
There are some there are some patrons that you see every single year that actually might give me a little bit of pause, Loco Bob. Did I?
Oh, did you say that?
Did I say that with
Oh,
my
my gosh.
outside voice?
Yes, you did. You said that with your outside voice. All right, so tell us again when it's going to be. Saturday, June 21st.
From 4 to 8. And
Pasadena Convention
Pasadena
Center.
Convention Center. Don't worry about the construction out there. That's the great city of Pasadena is taking huge leaps and bounds to bring us forward. And so don't worry about that. They've managed it very well. And so there's plenty of parking there. You won't even notice it. You won't even notice it. So City of Pasadena is another great partner. And again, they're providing, working forward to provide the infrastructure that we need to take our city to the next level. And we need you, the folks that are watching, we need you to come out and bring your blessings out here so that we can do the same thing for the Rose. And
Purchase your table now. Go
Rose,
ahead and get your tickets.
buy a table, just buy a ticket, show up, get a plate to go. I mean,
That's
for
it.
whatever,
That's it. Whatever.
sit back, watch an actual live auction.
By a champion auctioneer.
By a state champion bid calling auctioneer.
We're going to have to publicize that. We have a real estate champion this year.
It's been that way for a long time.
I know, but we don't have to tell them that. We'll just tell them like it's brand new. They'll think they're seeing something new. So come on out, help us raise some money.
Absolutely.
And you're doing it for a good cause.
And remember that the blessing, whatever the blessings are that come in to the Rose, regardless of how large or small, they're all a blessing in God's eyes. And as those blessings go forward, they're going to continue to enrich and bless and just they're going to enrich folks that are on the need list, like you stated earlier. So it helps. It absolutely helps.
Thank you for doing another shrimp boil for us, being our champion auctioneer.
And ladies and
gentlemen, we're going
gentlemen,
to raise some money.
Yep. And like I say at the end of my auctions, at $2,500, that $3,000 to bid, would have been $3,000, would have been $3,000, would have go $3, would have been $3. Sold.
Thank you for joining us today on Let's Talk About Your Breasts. This podcast is produced by Speak Podcasting and brought to you by The Rose. Visit therose.org to learn more about our organization. Subscribe to our podcast, share episodes with friends, and join the conversation on social media using hashtag Let's Talk About Your Breasts. We welcome your feedback and suggestions. Consider supporting The Rose. Your gift can make the difference to a person in need. And remember, self-care is not selfish. It's essential.